Answering your first question, the challenges for Indian batters will certainly be spinners. It all depends on how the pitches are being prepared. There are lots of talks that Galle and SSC will be provided with some good batting wickets, like at least the first 2.5 days to bat, and then the spinners to take over with pitches being deteriorated. So it all depends on the pitch being made. How is the pitch being made? But I certainly feel that the biggest challenge for the Indian batters will be spinners. Prabhat Jayasuriya, he's our main weapon, as well as Asita Fernando with the fast bowling unit will be the main weapon as well. And when it comes to the second spinner slot, this is where Sri Lankan team will struggle a little bit. The reason I say it because Ramesh Mendis, who's tipped to play this test match, has not played a test match since 2025 January against Australia. So he has not played for 18 months. So all of a sudden playing a test match against India is never easy. So that's something to be look forward to. How is he going to cope up with it? And he did play the warm up game. He did decently well. And also talking about the predictions, it's a tough one to say right now. But I feel on paper India looks very strong with the inclusion of Ravindra Jadeja. I think batting at number 7, the inputs that he's going to bring into this side is going to be massive. So I'm going to go 1-1. Series is a draw. I think it's going to be a massive miss. Not only Ravi Ashwin, even the likes of the batters like Virat, Rohit with the ball, Jasprit. I think these guys are legends of the game. The records speak to itself. The numbers are brilliant. And Ravi Ashwin, whenever he has toured Sri Lanka, he has done well. Because in Sri Lanka, all of you all talk about the turn. But if you really look in deep, it's a bounce that pick up wickets for the spinners. So Ravi Ashwin with his side, he would have been the ideal candidate to bowl in this because as well as Washington Sundar, he's going to be a massive miss because if it's a turner with Washington Sundar's height as well, he can extract bounce. So he'll be a miss. And Prabhat Jayasuriya is going to be the main weapon, that's for sure. We've nicknamed him as King of Galle because so many wickets he has picked up in Galle. He knows to bowl with the wind because wind is going to be a major factor in Galle because of the drift that the spinners can work with. So that's something that the Indian spinners got to make sure whenever they start training in Galle. I believe they're traveling today. They start training by tomorrow. How quickly the spinners adapt to the wind factor. It's going to be a cross wind in Galle. So that's going to be massive. And I think overall, Ravi Ashwin is a shoes that it's hard to fill. The numbers speak to itself. Not only his bowling progress, but his batting progress as well as a number 6 batter. And talking about the rest of the spinners in the Indian side, I really like how Manav Sutar made his debut against Afghanistan a few months ago and how he bowled in the warm-up game as well. His pace, his bounce. I really like him. But big question, will India play Ravindra Jadeja and Manav Sutar in the same side? So 2 left-arm spinners ideally. And Saransh Jain still have not made his debut. Looks a decent bowler, but it'll be a lot to ask from him on debut against a quality and experienced batting lineup like Sri Lanka. But if you ask me, I'll be tempted to go with the 2 left-arm spinners as well as Kuldeep Yadav. I think Kuldeep Yadav, is a front runner to start in Galle. The record again, especially with the last Test match against Afghanistan, he picked up so many wickets. So I see three spinners from India with Jaddu, Kuldeep Yadav, the third spinner, Manav Sutar or Saransh Jain. Ideally, you like to see an off spinner for a variation, but I will not be surprised if Manav Sutar plays as well, simply because I feel with his ability to get bounce off the surface, it can be handy in Galle. Ruled out a few days ago, especially Kusal Mendis. Pathum Nissanka, I think definitely is going to be out of the first Test match because what I hear and the news I'm getting also that he has not battered strenuously in the nets or not even played any cricket. So straight away playing a Test match is not going to be easy. But Kusal Mendis factor is going to be massive because number 7, a wicket keeper. The real match winners are at number 7. The good Test sides in the past has always had a good number 7 who could you play the counter-attacking role. Also, if when the second new ball been taken, he can be steady batter as well. So for me, Kusal Mendis is going to be a massive miss. And Pathum Nissanka, big question mark. If he's not cleared to play. It's going to be a massive dent again in the Sri Lankan batting lineup. But I expect Lairudar and Nishan Madhuskar to open the batting. Nishan Madhuskar scored 2.5 centuries against India in the warm-up game. So, he's in superb form. Lairudar, batted so well in the LPL. I understand it's white ball to red ball setup. But don't forget, in the last test match against West Indies in Antigua, he scored 160. So he's coming back with, good confidence as well. So, yes, Pathum and Kusal will be a massive lose for Sri Lanka. But I think Sri Lanka has got bases covered. Side without Bumrah is a boost for the opposition. That has to be said, because up in Galle, as I said before, the crosswind is a major factor, and especially with the older ball, the ability to reverse swing by Bumrah is going to be a massive miss for India. That's where I think they will lack the wicket taking ability, because Mohammad Siraj, all due respect to him, he's a good bowler, but when you compare the two fast bowlers, there's a bit of a difference. And I expect Siraj to lead this pack. And for the second seamer slot, Prashid Krishna should be the one, should be starting since he played the last test match against Afghanistan. He looks in decent form, bowled decently well in the warm-up game. I think he bowled close to about 16, 17 overs, decent workload in 3 days. 3 days in this humid, it's not easy. But for me, I really like Gurnoor Brar. I think he can be the X factor. He has the bounce, he has the pace, he has the fighting spirit, and he has, he can be nasty. If you guys watch the warm up game, some of the deliveries he bowled for some of the batters who are in the Test squad already, like the likes of Pawan Ratnayaka, the like of Sonal Dinusha. He was quite uneasy for the batters, and he got couple of the players getting blows as well to the body. So if I'm in the think tank of India, I'll be tempted to give a go to Gurnoor Brar. I know that he has not played red ball cricket yet. He's only played white ball for India. But since he brings that X factor, short spells, burst spells where you just want to break the rhythm of the batter, he can be a lethal weapon. But I understand if Prashid Krishna gets the first test as they go ahead. I understand because of his form and playing the last test match against Afghanistan, so you don't want to mix up too much in the winning combination. So all this has to be considered. But the leader of the pack, Siraj, they bowled decently well in the warm-up game, bowled, I think, 20 odd overs. So big workload before the first test match in Galle. And overall, I think looking at the bowling lineup of India, it's quite competitive with 2 seamers and 3 spinners. Answering your question, Gary Kirsten was there all 3 days. I was in commentary as well, and I went and spoke to him a few things. So he was there all 3 days, and he's like a hands-on coach. Gary coached India as well. I don't have to say his record. He's been loved wherever he has coached. He had a major good respect towards him. And the feedback I'm getting from the dressing room is that, he's been loved and he's been respected by all the players. So, he'll be a massive influence to this side with his experience. And, end of the day, the coaches can do a certain much. Rest of it is all about the players going out there and doing their bit. Because nowadays, a head coach role is like man management, like what Ravi Shastri did when the Indian team was so successful in all formats. So similar role, I think Gary will be wanting to play, because, when it comes to talent, there's a lot of talent available in Sri Lanka, but just that to, get the right players involved, the right mentality going, playing against a quality side like India and Test cricket is the way. That's how you create the environment for the players to go out there and perform. So WTC points, I think both the sides is very important. 24 points up for grabs, both sides, quite used to the conditions in subcontinent. But only thing that India may be just lacking a little bit can be the humidity factor. I understand it's quite hot in India at the moment, in Bangalore as well. But Sri Lanka, especially Galle, can be very humid, can be testing. And that's where I think it's a master call by the Indian think tank to play a 3-day game, get adjusted to and get used to the humid levels, because heat level is almost similar. But the humid level in Sri Lanka is much more. So, and they got 3 days of training in Galle. So I'm pretty sure by the time of the first test match, they'll be well up for it. And it's all about, end of the day, we can speak a lot, but at the end of the day, it's just one ball against one batter. You've got to keep it really simple and trust the process. Shubman Gill, again, a quality player. You correctly said he's one of the best going around. I think in this year, his test average is above 70 odd. Numbers speak to itself, and the way he batted in the second innings of the warm-up game, superb. I'm just looking forward to watch Shubman Gill bat because he's one of the best going around, not only in Test cricket, in all formats. I reckon, lots of talk about Rishabh Pant. How is he going to play? I mean, does he has to change his game plan? I think, being a former player, if I'm in the opposition, like if I'm in the Sri Lankan dressing room, I'll be very worried about Rishabh Pant because he's a player within a matter of half an hour, 45 minutes. He can change the game totally. We've seen him doing in the past, and he has that X factor, and he's been given that license to play the natural game. And he's going to play a lot against left arm spin and off spin. Sri Lanka for sure is going to go with two frontline spinners as well as two part timers in Sonal Dinusha and Dhananjay De Silva. And Rishabh Pant, the way he scores runs unorthodox, it's going to be dangerous. So I feel looks of KL Rahul, Dhruv Jurel, those are proper players who don't take much risk. They play play elegantly. Very nice to watch. But for me, dangerous players can be Rishabh Pant. Devdutt Padikkal, the way he batted at number 3, he was so solid. I'm looking forward to watching him bat as well. And for me, I think Rishabh Pant, Shubman Gill, and even Jasprit Bumrah because free-flowing players. Because in subcontinent, it's just about getting through the first 10, 15 deliveries. And then once you get going in this heat, the ball will not move much in the first innings. Second innings, yes, there will be turn on offer whether you bat first, third, or fourth. So it's all about trusting your process. As I said in the beginning, we can talk a lot about various things, but you got to trust the process and you got to make sure you back yourself. And because overnight, Yashasvi Jaiswal cannot be a Devdutt Padikkal. He has to play his natural game, and that's why he has made a name for himself. So it's all about making sure how you're going to start and how you're going to finish in the first innings. Because first innings course for me is going to be the massive one. I think very simply they got to be more consistent. I think the word I've always used against Sri Lanka, with Sri Lanka, is consistency. Whether it's individually or whether it's as a whole, playing as a unit where the results come out is very important. I mean, the biggest disappointment for me was especially in Antigua in the first Test match, the way Sri Lankan team bundled out pretty easily with some soft dismissals. Because Test cricket, the name Test itself, speaks volumes. Because that's a test for any batter in any surface. So I mean, I like to see more fight, more grit, and more consistency by the Sri Lankan top order. Yes, Sri Lanka will miss the likes of Angelo Matthews, for an example, with his experience. But there's enough talent coming through. And, the likes of Kamindu Mendis now is going to bat probably at number 4. Then Dhananjay De Silva as a captain. This is his best chance to beat the Indian side at home because, not much occasion Sri Lanka has beaten India, whether it's home or away. I mean, I don't think away Sri Lanka has beaten in a series, but home at Sri Lanka has won. But as a captain for Dhananjay De Silva, that should be the goal because he can go into record books as a captain to beat India's side, who are also coming into this series with lots of questions simply because they lost to South Africa at home. And and on a batting order, lots of questions being asked, especially by the media. So I think this is where Sri Lankan team should make sure they really get into the Indian side, the top order, whether they bat first or bowl first. I mean, for the moment, I think Pakistan, Sri Lanka team is supposed to have. I'm not too sure about. That's end of the year. I think early January, February. There is a talk, but since the 2027 white ball 50 over World Cup coming in as well, Sri Lanka, not only Sri Lanka, the other sides have to concentrate building up to that World Cup also. I mean, not having Test cricket a lot has been the talk of the town. Like, for an example, last year, Sri Lanka only played, if I remember right, 4 Test matches, 2 against Australia, 2 against Bangladesh. And this year, the first 2 Test matches Sri Lanka played against West Indies a few weeks ago, and then India in the upcoming 2 Test matches. So this is where I like to see more Test cricket. Not only me, all the past cricketers would love to see our players playing more Test cricket because it's the pinnacle still. And that's something that I really hope that the board will work with the ICC and play more Test matches. Yeah, I think this, as I said, the vulnerability of Indian batting order and the negativity going around with it, with losing to South Africa at home, especially. This is where Sri Lanka can really pounce on if they bring the A game. And my concern is that some of the players have not played red ball cricket after the West Indies series, basically because of LPL straight away and then the Test series. So maybe some of the bowlers will be slightly undercooked when it comes to the workload. I mean, they had at least a couple of weeks to get their workload high, train for a while. But it's nothing like a practice game, in my opinion. As far as I know, Sri Lanka has not played a practice game because simply no time. Whereas India just played a 3-day game, and also they were smart. On the 4th day, they did not want to play the 4-day game. They wanted to play a 3-day game. And on the 4th day, on the same pitch, they went and trained out there simply because they wanted their batters to play against the spinners, bowling to the rough, which is going to be the challenge come the 3rd day, the 4th day, if the test match goes the 5th day up in Galle as well as the SSC. So I think, preparation-wise, Indians are much more equipped than the Sri Lankans, if you ask me. So this is where the edge can be won. And also on paper, the numbers speak to itself. I think India with the likes of Kuldeep Yadav and Ravindra Jadeja, as well as Mohammad Siraj, is quite formidable as the leader of the bowling pack. And Sri Lanka will rely heavily on Asida Fernando and Prabhat Jayasuriya, because those two have been playing consistently Test cricket and been performing well. And my other concern is second spinner Ramesh Mendis, as I said, has not played Test cricket for a while, and he has not played red ball for a while. Only last week in the just concluded 3-day warm-up game, he played a red ball game. So many ifs and buts. Only answers will be given come the 15th. Hopefully, the Test match goes to the 5th day till the 19th. It's going to be massive. I think he's going to bat at number 3. He's the most experienced player, former captain. The owners will be on him for sure. And I still remember that 160 scored against the likes of Ashwin, the likes of Amit Mishra. I still remember that. From nowhere, Chandy scored that 3rd inning 100, and in the 4th innings, India were bundled out, and Sri Lanka won the Test match. So those are the happy memories I'm sure Chandimal will carry into this Test match. And as I said, it's all about on the day, as everyone keeps saying in the cricketing field, it's about facing that one delivery, not looking at the bigger picture, just one delivery. Concentration level will be tested, not only for Chandimal, for all the batters with the humidity around Sri Lanka at the moment. But this is where your experience comes in, because Chandimal has played so much cricket. He knows what it takes to score against India, what sort of a side is India. He would have played a lot against Kuldeep as well as Ravindra Jadeja. So for me, he's going to be the important cog in the wheel in the batting lineup.